Hi, Nihaila here. I am the founder of the brand I Am on Dialysis, where we help you, kidney patient, and your loved ones to overcome fear, sadness, and loneliness in order for you to achieve your goals and dreams. Today's topic, COVID. A little disclaimer before we continue. Everything that I discuss about today is based on my view. And my view is based on what the media has provided me, including government, but also my own research and my own background. My background is microbiology with the side road of biotechnology, meaning the processes in the cell. I've graduated that on a college degree, so therefore I know some. Now I have to say that my knowledge is based off me graduating like years ago, and I'm not using that knowledge on a daily basis, so it's a little rusty. But I had some help, and I will show you along the way. Now, going back, COVID. I did not want to talk about this topic very easily because of everything is going on. A lot of people who are giving their opinion or their view on the whole COVID situation find themselves being blocked on social media, saying it's not factual, it's not real, or whatever. So that was part of the reason that I postponed as much as possible. But my goal with this video is not to tell you what to do or what not to do. My goal is for you to at least listen and make for you your best decision. What this is the best decision for you. And also to encourage you to do your own research. Listen to what the government say, but listen also to the ones who are against. And weigh in for yourself what's best for you, what's the truth. Don't go just because the regular media is saying, oh, that is dangerous or that is not true or whatever. Listen to why are they saying the things that they are saying. Not just throw it aside just because the regular media is saying. Just listen it critically and decide for yourself what is true and what is not true and which decision you make. That being said, I am going to go through this as a patient, as a person that is on dialysis, and my experience the last 1.5 years in this whole COVID situation. Now, mind you, that what I'm saying may not count for everybody. So this is really my view. Again, I'm just giving you a heads up. As you all know, in Holland, where I'm situating, the COVID really started to hit hard in February 2020. Around that time, I was working for a call center in Tilburg. For those who doesn't remember, in Tilburg was the first city in Holland that the COVID really hit hard. I was like in the center of everything, but I was still going to work by train. I was still doing groceries because I was helping out my mom. I was still doing the things that I needed to do in order to continue living because it was necessary. In the meantime, all regulations, all measurements were taken regarding the whole COVID. I stopped working at my previous job, was a few weeks home, and I started in a new job, that one I'm right now at. And since the beginning till now, I'm still working almost every single day, just my full-time job. Meaning that I've been exposed outside to the possibility of getting COVID. Now, I have not got COVID, have not become sick by COVID, I have not taken the vaccine, and I'm doing my best not to be needing that, not being hospitalized, none of that. And I'm doing my best to make sure I don't. it got me thinking. What's going on? Why one person, why other person? What is the media telling? Is everything what they're saying is truth or not? What's going on? And I've been searching, I've been reading, I've been listening to podcasts from other people who are not aligned with the big media, but more on social media. And you will say, but Niall, it's social media. Why would you listen to that? Most of it is junk, or most of them are lies. But know that in every lie, there's some truth. And I've then go back to my own background, microbiology. What is truth? What is the process? What is the organic way of doing things according to your own body? What is the truth? Well, I don't know all the truth, but I'm going to explain to you my vision, my view of this, how everything works. And if you have questions, please let me know. You can do that in the comment below. We can start a discussion, or you can send me personally if you want more information. But let us go all the way to the basic. And to go to the basic, I mean, how does a cell work? From a DNA part to a protein part. I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to also put in below in the description, in the description, the link to this video, because credit goes where credit is due. And I hope to make this a little bit more clear to what I'm going to discuss about today. So here comes the video. Enjoy, and I will come back in a few seconds.
Here is a cell, the basic unit of all living tissue. In most human cells, there is a structure called the nucleus. The nucleus contains the genome. In humans, the genome is split between 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each chromosome contains a long strand of DNA, tightly packaged around proteins called histones. Within the DNA are sections called genes. These genes contain the instructions for making proteins. When a gene is switched on, an enzyme called RNA polymerase attaches to the start of the gene. It moves along the DNA, making a strand of messenger RNA out of free bases in the nucleus. The DNA code determines the order in which the free bases are added to the messenger RNA. This process is called transcription. Before the messenger RNA can be used as a template for the production of proteins, it needs to be processed. This involves removing and adding sections of RNA. The messenger RNA then moves out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm. Protein factories in the cytoplasm, called ribosomes, bind to the messenger RNA. The ribosome reads the code in the messenger RNA to produce a chain made up of amino acids. There are 20 different types of amino acid. Transfer RNA molecules carry the amino acids to the ribosome. The messenger RNA is read 3 bases at a time. As each triplet is read, a transfer RNA delivers the corresponding amino acid. This is added to a growing chain of amino acids. Once the last amino acid has been added, the chain folds into a complex 3D shape to form the protein.
Okay, I hope that the information that you got from the video makes things a little bit more clear. And I hope you paid a little bit more attention on the fact how the messenger RNA goes to this out of the nucleus, and there it becomes transcribed towards a protein. Very important, because that process a virus needs in order to multiply. It's not going to go inside of the nucleus, but it's going to stay outside of the nucleus where messenger RNA is transferred to the proteins. That is also the process that COVID needs in order to multiply. It goes into your cell, multiply, and gets out. Getting out means killing the host, killing the cell in order to go out and infect other cells and to multiply. By the time you notice that you're sick, in case of COVID, that's 14 days after. In those 14 days, you can infect others because it is multiplying. It's not at a level that you are becoming sick, but it's multiplying, and when you sneeze or cough, it goes out. Spatters comes out, so it can infect others. Why does the RNA virus needs only in the cell, but outside the nucleus? Because they already are RNA. They need that process to build their protein layer, the envelope. And also they need that process to build new RNA. RNA on itself is very, very unstable compared to a DNA. RNA can make, when replicating an RNA strand, it can make mistakes. Those mistakes can make the virus react differently in somebody else. That's why you have the Delta variant, the Alpha variant, Beta, Gamma, you name it. That has to do with the fact that when somebody, let's say, get infected with the Alpha version, when it's being infected with the Alpha version, during that process of multiplying, there's a mistake made with the transcription. With that mistake, it will go out to infect a new person. Depending on the mistake, the symptoms with somebody will be different. And that symptom will then be called beta version. I'm just giving an example. And that cycle will continue and continue and continue. And based on that, I'm saying, for me, I'm not taking the vaccine because the vaccine is based probably on the Alpha version. And in the meantime, we are already on Delta version. And maybe even Epsilon. I have no idea. I'm not keeping up with all the variants, to be honest. So the fact that it changes so much is for me to say, you know what, the vaccine was based on one type. There's too much doubt about it? No. Also, it came way too fast compared to all the other vaccines that has ever been produced. But that's a side note. We're going to talk about it later. So basically, that's the part. Now, what does your body do when it comes in contact with a virus or a bacteria? I have also a small video about that. We're going to look at that video right now. I'm also going to put a link for the full because I'm not going to show you full. It's a pretty long video. And for you to understand how your immune system works, especially when it comes to virus of intruders, bacteria also. So basically it works the same with bacteria and viruses. Viruses are a little bit different than bacteria, but the concept is the same. And I hope it makes you a little bit more clear. And I will see you back after this video.
The human immune system is the most complex biological system we know after the human brain, and yet most of us never learn how it works or what it is. Your immune system consists of hundreds of tiny and 2 large organs. It has its own transport network spread throughout your body. Every day, it makes hundreds of billions of fresh cells organized like an army with soldiers, captains, intelligence officers, heavy weapons, and crazy suicide bombers. It's not some sort of abstract entity. Your immune system is you. Your biology protecting you from the billions of microorganisms that want to consume you and from your own perverted cells that turn into cancer. It's so manifold that it's impossible to cover in one video, so we'll make a series looking at different aspects of it. Today, what happens when your body is invaded and your first lines of defenses are engaged in a fight for life and death? It's been a normal day, when suddenly the world explodes and an asteroid rips the sky open. Countless alien life forms invade, ready to destroy cities and infrastructure and eat civilians. Or this is what your cells experience. You look at your bleeding thumb that you just cut on a dirty twig in the park. How annoying. But inside the wound, a horrible catastrophe has happened. There are dead cells and blood and dirt everywhere. Even worse, countless bacteria invade the warm caverns between your helpless cells to explore their new home, steal your resources, and poop everywhere. Immediately, the first stage of your defense kicks in. The cells that survived the impact or are hurt or dying scream in panic, releasing an onslaught of chemical alarm signals that awaken your immune system. The first cells to show up are macrophages. If an average cell were the size of a human, a macrophage would be the size of a black rhino. A stoic cell in principle, but you wouldn't want to annoy it. Bacteria do annoy them. Within seconds, the large cells attack and begin killing them without mercy. They stretch out parts like the arms of an octopus and grab the bacteria to swallow them whole and digest them alive. A macrophage can eat 100 bacteria before it's exhausted. But there are too many enemies, so the macrophages call for reinforcements. In your blood, hundreds of thousands of neutrophils pick up their signals and move to the battlefield. Neutrophils are intense suicide warriors that only live to kill. They're so enthusiastic about killing that they kill themselves a few days after birth, so they don't have time to accidentally destroy your body from the inside. As soon as neutrophils arrive, they begin vomiting deadly chemicals at bacteria or devour them. They are so careless in their attacks that they are causing real damage to your own cells, but collateral damage is not their concern now. Or ever. Some neutrophils go so far to push their suicide button and explode, casting wide and toxic nets made from their own DNA filled with deadly chemicals that trap and kill bacteria. Sometimes they can continue fighting after that, even though they're sort of dead already. This is how much fun they have killing. While the battle rages, your blood vessels let fluid stream into the battlefield like a dam opening up towards a valley. You notice this as inflammation. Your thumb swells up a little and gets red and warm. The fluid brings a silent killer into the battle zone, millions of complement proteins. A sort of automated liquid weapon that stuns and kills bacteria by ripping holes into them. We made a whole video explaining them in detail. We're reaching a crossroad now. If things go well, your first line of defense kills the invaders quickly. But sometimes, the enemies are too strong and would overwhelm your defenses eventually, which means certain death for you, the human. This is the hour of the dendritic cell, your immune system's intelligence officer. While your soldiers were bashing in heads, it was collecting samples by ripping bacteria into tiny parts and covering itself in it. Like a soldier decorating itself in the guts of a dead enemy. The cell leaves the battlefield and enters the superhighway of your immune system that connects all your tissues with your immune headquarters, your lymph nodes. The dendritic cell coming from the battlefield is looking for a helper T cell, which is a sort of all-purpose commander cell within your immune army. But not any helper T cell, one that happens to have just the right weapon for the bacteria that infected your wound. So it goes around and rubs itself, still covered in bacteria parts, against every helper T cell it meets. Most T cells are a bit disgusted and not interested, but after a few hours, something clicks. A helper T cell recognizes the bacteria parts. This cell is the weapon that's needed right now. The dendritic cell is overjoyed and activates the helper T cell. Okay, wait. How come your immune system has a cell that has a weapon against the specific bacteria that infected you? Well, your immune system has a perfect weapon against every possible disease in the universe, against the Black Death, the coronavirus, or an infection that will emerge in 100 years on Mars. We'll talk about this a bit more in the next video because it's very complex, so for now, just know that you have billions of unique helper T cells that each have weapons against every possible enemy. After the right T cell is activated, your second line of defense awakes and rises like a teenager that needs to get up on a school day, very slowly. Your heavy weapons are incredibly effective, but they're not fast. The activated helper T cell begins to clone itself over and over again. 1 becomes 2, 2 become 4, until there are thousands of them. Now they split into 2 groups. The first group quickly moves to help out your soldiers. At the battlefield, things are getting out of hand. A tired macrophage is ready to give up. After fighting for days, it just wants to go to sleep, like many of its buddies have done already. But now the helper T cells arrive. One of them comes to the tired macrophage and whispers something using special chemical signals. In a heartbeat, the demoralized soldier feels fresh again. But there's something else, a hot, white anger. The macrophage knows what it needs to do. Kill. Invigorated, it throws itself against the enemies once again. All over the battlefield, this begins to happen. Meanwhile, the second group of helper T cells was working on activating another line of defense, B cells, your antibody factories. Antibodies are protein superweapons that look like tiny crabs with 2 pincers to grab enemies. Just like the helper T cells, there are B cells in your body that are able to make just the right antibodies for every possible enemy. And the helper T cell is looking for exactly these B cells. After a day or 2, the right B cell is found and begins to clone itself. As soon as enough clones have been made, each B cell begins pumping out up to 2,000 antibodies per second. About a week after you injured yourself and bacteria invaded, your second line of defense finally arrives in full force. The tiny army begins to saturate the battlefield, pinching and stunning desperate bacteria. The antibodies clump them together and make them unable to move or fight, while your soldiers massacre the defenseless victims. The tide is turning fast. As the last enemies are cleaned up, your soldiers realize they are no longer needed and begin to kill themselves to save resources. But not all of them. A few helper T cells remain and turn into memory cells. They will guard the tissue for years, making sure the same bacteria will never again gain a foothold here. Similarly, a few B cells will stay alive and keep producing a low amount of antibodies, making you immune against this bacteria, maybe for the rest of your life. One day you wake up and notice that the wound has grown over and left nothing but a faint red mark. You were completely unaware of the drama your cells had to deal with. For you, the whole ordeal was a slight annoyance, while for millions of cells, it was a desperate fight for life and death.
Yes, I hope the information that you got from the video makes a little bit more clear regarding our immune system. Now, I have to say that at this moment, we know a lot about our immune system, but we don't know every single thing. New things are being developed, new knowledge is being discovered regarding our immune system. So therefore, we cannot say that how things will go. I have to also say that every person, literally every person, reacts differently to how bacteria comes into your body or a virus. So the film that you just saw, the video that you just saw, is the basic overall explanation of how our immune system works. So knowing that we can fight it ourselves when we are healthy means that it makes me personal doubts, as in why would we need a COVID vaccine? If we can get it, go through it normally, and based on the numbers that the government themselves has provided, you can say that it's less than 1% who get really, really ill out of it. Now, I do not want to minimize the effects of this virus. I do not want to say that it doesn't exist. I do not want to say that it's not bad. But based on the numbers who gets infected and who gets really sick out of it, I would say it's comparable to the flu. And I'm not talking about symptoms, I'm talking about the percentage. Let's just be clear about that. So based on that, I'm like, okay, if the majority can fight it off themselves, why all the measurements? Why all the pressure? Because we know that the vulnerable persons, like the older, the sick and such, they will need more attention. But if you install fear in a healthy person, then he or she will also develop the sickness. Now, going back on that film about our immune system. So I believe really that the complexity that is our immune system, especially if you help it with exercise and eating healthy. And eating healthy, in my view, is eating more than the 2 pieces of fruit that the government is saying that you should be eating. I'm talking, well, in my case, I eat a whole lot more. I might eat a half a kilo of fruit a day. That might not be for you yet, but it's a consideration for you to help your own and help your health and help your immune system. Because 2 fruits only, while you're eating a lot of fat, a lot of carbs, and not moving a lot, it doesn't. It's like a drop on a hot plate. You need more fruit. So, and talking about that, more fruits, more vitamin C, actually natural vitamin C, not produced vitamin C, natural vitamin C, you will help to support your immune system. It helps, the vitamin C helps it, and it helps you have a good humor also. It helps you be happy. So based on that information, based on, okay, how does an RNA goes from RNA to protein and how our immune system works, I would say, okay, I would start questioning all the measurements and all the idea that is being put out. That's one. Let's continue, because that's the basis. Okay, our immune system is complicated, but it can handle a lot. It can handle a lot. If not, we will be in the categories of immune suppressed person or a sick person or elder and such. Immune suppressed person. Officially, I am an immune suppressed person, meaning that my immune system is not working as it should. To be honest, it even went haywire and attacked my own body. There's an autoimmune illness. And in my case, it attacked my kidneys. Therefore, I result in being on dialysis right now. All this time, I didn't have an episode of an autoimmune attack, which is good. But it made me think. If you go back to the making of proteins, the working of immune system, and again, this is my view, my conclusion based of what I have researched and based for my situation, I would say that an autoimmune reaction is actually your immune system going haywire in such a way that it is recognizing foreign protein outside of your cell, depending on which organ, and it wants to get rid of it. It wants to get rid of it, and that's why you have that reaction. It's not that your body is turning against itself. No. Because if it was that part, then humanity would not be alive. Trust me. It's just something that your immune system is seeing something very foreign and it reacts to it based on explanation of how the immune system works. Going further, because we are talking here about the whole COVID situation, about my experience and how I see things, how my view is regarding that. So basically, yes, we talk about the immune system, so that's one. Secondly, and I mentioned already in my disclaimer that media, the big medias right now are saying, don't believe such and such person because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Or she doesn't know what he's talking about. You have Facebook saying that they will block certain people if they are not factual. They will say they will block certain people because they are promoting hate or lies or whatever. My opinion is that it's not directly a lie. Sometimes it's just going against what the big pharma or big media is saying, and they just want to spread awareness. But I believe that everybody has the right, actually more the duty, to research for themselves and to share that knowledge with others in order for others also to decide for themselves what's benefits for them. So that's my standpoint. Another point of this whole COVID thing, because I already mentioned, I've been active the whole time. More and more research are coming out and saying that actually to combat this virus, this illness, is to live healthy, eat more fruits, move more, be more active. And while those researches are coming out more and more, you're seeing that those information are not being spread by the big media. Absolutely not. The only thing that you're hearing is that, okay, we need to lock everybody up inside, less movement, no going to the gym, eating healthy has become more expensive, going out, going to restaurants and such, you have to have a QR code for it, or you're not allowed to go to. All those measurements and in being just out there, being free, living your life, being happy, doing fun stuff, are being restricted. Well, those things are the things that can help you. And you would think, like, what does going to a restaurant means? What does going to a restaurant help me with my health? Well, when you're in a restaurant, you're outside of your day-to-day environment, your house, your work. You're just outside of it, having fun, enjoying, being together with other people, amongst other people. That distraction, that laughter once in a while, produce dopamine, and that dopamine helps you to fight off negativity and such. So that's the way it can help. Being active also, because your blood circulate more often, getting all the toxins out, and in order for you to be more healthier. If you don't do that, then you're going to get sick. Remember, as a patient, as a person on dialysis, my kidneys don't remove those toxins efficiently. So, I'm supposed to move less, but I'm not. I'm just going on bike to my work every single day. And it keeps me in motion. It keeps me active. And I've noticed that it contributes. And I wish that the big media was also promoting that instead of just only the vaccine and such. Okay, that's another reason. We're going to the next reason. It's not only now, but it's been in years. I'm talking about more than 10 years, ever since the current government, not the government itself, the group that has been in the government for a while now, they've systematically make budget cuts on health. A lot of hospitals even have to merge in order to keep their heads up above water. And they've been doing that consequently for years. And now we are paying the price, because last year that we didn't have a vaccine and we had a lot of people going into ICU, I can understand the measurements that needs to be taken in order to help out, because we don't have enough beds, we don't have enough people to help out, to take care of all these people. But now that majority is vaccinated, we are heading again towards the same situation. So it doesn't make sense. And on top of that, you still have to deal with people that have their underlying, or they are already sick with other kinds of illnesses, or they had accidents, severe accidents, so that they also need to be on the ICU. So it doesn't really make sense to me. And the measurements are, to me, personally, again, are out of proportion. But then again, I'm not in the government. I'm just here making a video, sharing some information with you. So all of that. But the biggest reason, and I'm going to give you that also, and this is something that makes me cringe very badly, and that is the fact that big pharma are gaining a lot of money with this situation. Now that we might be needing a third shot, because there's two. They say first you needed one, then it became two, and now it's three, and maybe even becomes four, or then it becomes yearly shots, just to make sure the efficiency of the shot maintained. Now, you cannot tell me that you need that many shots in order for your product to become efficient. Efficient to me is one shot or no shot at all. That's efficient, not 3 shots, not a yearly thing. Meaning that the potency of that vaccine, the longer we wait, the more we see that it's very short term. What does that say? And there was a second bulletin out that the big pharmas, are again making a whole lot of money due to the fact that they are selling these things. They are not for free. The vaccine is not for free. The government is paying in order for you to get those vaccines. So big pharma are thriving right now because of that. If you don't believe me, again, after this little message, I will show you the receipt. And it's in the big media. I'm not making this up. And the efficiency of this vaccine are also published by the pharma themselves. They self are saying this. So I'm not getting this information from some how you call it, conspiracy theorist or theorist or some butcher or whatever. No, it's from the pharmaceuticals themselves. So what I'm asking is that why are they making so much money on people being sick? That is something that you should be asking yourself. On top of that, they are not being held accountable if you have side effects of this vaccine. That is something you should think about before, you have to take it into consideration. Most medication, if something happens to you, let's say differently. Majority of the medications that a doctor prescribes to you has side effects. Majority, if not all, has side effects. From side effects to very mild, some itching or whatever, or to severe side effects, meaning your death. In the media, except for in the beginning when Iceland, I believe it was Iceland, was saying, wait a minute, this vaccine is causing severe side effects, we're not using it. After that, you didn't hear anything that how many people is having side effects, how many people has become severe ill out of it, or even died out of it from this vaccine. And that's a little bit odd to me, a little bit cringy even. Why are you saying that everybody needs it, but you're not saying what the consequences are? On top of that, you want everybody to have it, but you're not taking responsibility for when somebody becomes ill out of it. Think. I'm just saying, think. And the fact that you cannot sue a pharmaceutical company when it comes to a vaccine, cringe. Sorry, very cringe. I don't trust it. But then again, it's up to you. Now, based on those information that has come by the last few months, I'm like, no, this vaccine is not for me. But I am in no position to tell you to not take it. I can only share you my experience, my knowledge, and what I've decided for me. If you decide not to take it because you have done your research, you have decided, this is also not for me, more to you. But if you decide to take it anyway, because also you did your research and you decided I'm going to take it because I'm for it, that's all also to you. No judgment here. But I just want to share my view regarding it. And last but not least, I've talked a lot, I showed a lot, and this might not be for you. Maybe it's for somebody else. So please share it. Comment below. If you don't agree with me, just let me know. If I said something completely wrong, just let me know. I'm open to learn. And for us to have an open discussion, because now it's still available. We can still do it now. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to, listen to me. You're not obligated. I like it though. I like it if you listen to me and you start to thinking for yourself and you start to research for yourself. My goal has been accomplished. And so basically, it's something that we need to think about, especially when these days when there are more measurements coming out and they are saying that unvaccinated are the ones who are causing things, when I don't think so. How can you cause problem when you don't got it? How can you infect a person when you don't get it? I understand that you're saying, well, we need to vaccinate people in order for the symptoms to be less. But I don't believe that. And that is personal, because even though you have taken the vaccine, you can still become sick. The symptoms may vary because you already have the antibodies against it, but it still can be very, very intense. Like again, I said, not every immune system reacts the same way. We're not copy-paste of each other. We are our own even individual, and each individual reacts differently. So those are my thoughts. Sorry. Those are my thoughts. Those are my view. And let me know. Again, let me know what you think about it. Let's start a discussion. And basically take care of yourself. Because at the end, you are responsible for your own health. You are responsible for your own body. You are responsible for your own life. Regardless what anybody else say, or regardless how anybody else treats you or make you think that they owe you or whatever, they can tell you what to do. You are responsible. A doctor may help you, advise you, and treat you, but it cannot help, it cannot happen if you don't give permission. So what eventually I want to say with this video, and it's a long video, I usually don't make this long video, usually it's just a few minutes, but my end conclusion is this, for you to be aware that you are responsible for your own health, your own body, your own life, your own happiness also. Okay, I think for now I've talked a lot, and it's time for you guys to react. Let me know in the comments, personal, if you need any help with anything. If you're still very scared of the whole situation and you would want to know how to handle those fears, you can contact me. My number is below or at the end of this video. You will get some text regarding the media, regarding Big Pharma. I'm going to give it to you. And I will put in below the links to the videos that I showed you earlier on. So you can yourself make the research, yourself learn more about your body, your immune system and such, and just become wiser and become better for yourself. Treat yourself better. Yes, so that is for today. Love yourself, take care of yourself, and see you next time. Bye.